Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to make, bake, and assemble your gingerbread house starting with this big piece of dough. We're going to need a few tools today to cut our gingerbread house. So I like to use either a knife once I put the pattern pieces on, or I like to use my little pastry cutter, also used for raviolis, and it's a little bit smaller than a pizza cutter, but it still works just as good. All right, the other thing we're gonna need is a pastry brush, just in case we have a little too much flour on there, we can just brush it off before we put it in the oven. And the last thing is our dough cutter. All right, I use this to kind of cut the dough because we don't need that big hunk to start with, all right? All right, so I have my gingerbread dough. I made this yesterday, and it's been wrapped in plastic wrap in the refrigerator. So I'm going to get rid of my plastic wrap, and I'm going to use my flour, and I'm going to lightly flour my surface. To do that, I kind of take a little bit, scoot it out of my way, and sprinkle from up top. Okay. Now I'm going to put my my gingerbread dough down, and I'm going to cut it in half. So I'll save the other half for the other pieces, and I'm going to start with this piece here. So now you're going to kind of knead it just to get it in one kind of shape. Alrighty? And now for my rolling pin. Alright, so I'm going to start to roll, and you're going to put some pressure down right in the middle. Alright? Now, as you roll it, you want to turn it so you know it's not going to stick. If you feel like your rolling pin is sticking a little bit up top, lightly sprinkle it with flour. So we're going to roll out the dough until it's about 1/4 inch thick. It's okay if it's cracking on the sides. We can always add some water to our fingers when we re-roll it. If you find that it's sticking, like so, we're just going to put some more flour down. Place this back on. Got a little friend there. Now you want your dough to sit out for at least a half hour before you start rolling it. So I rolled it out to the thickness that I like. All right, if you could see this, it's about 1/4 inch. Now I have a front and back, I have a roof, I have a side, and I have a door. The most important thing to remember is it's a house. So you need 2 front and back, 2 roofs, and 2 sides. So I like to kind of find a good starting area. And if it's cracked, just kind of go up in the middle there. And we're going to start to cut. So I'm placing it right on the corner, and we'll cut around our pattern piece. Make sure you keep it in the same spot. And it doesn't move. Now you have to remember too that you want to make sure that these are all the same size. So let's peel back these, and let's get our first piece. All right, so here's our piece, and I'm going to put it on our sheet pan. Now you want to make sure you have a little bit of space here, so that way when it bakes, it's going to bake up and out, and it's not going to hit other pieces or the side of the pan here, okay? So now we're going to do that. So we're gonna take all of our pieces and we're going to put them all together. Now I like to put my pattern pieces aside that I've already used, so in that way I don't repeat myself. I already know that I've used 2 of these, 2 sides, and I just need 1 door. So I'm gonna ball up all of my dough, and I've also put some water next to me, so in that way I can wet my fingertips and try to put the dough back together. Might take a few seconds, but it will come back together. And then we're just gonna re-roll it out and cut out our roof pieces. And then we can put them in the oven. I already have my oven preheated to 375. And these are gonna bake for about 8 to 10 minutes. This might need a little bit more. Just want to make sure that you get like in the middle, because that's where a lot of people don't see that it is dry. All right, so now we have our dough. I'm going to put the water aside, sprinkle a little bit more flour, and do it again. It's important to get the same consistency and the same size as you had for the other pieces. If it ever sticks to your rolling pin like this, just take it off, all right? If you don't take it off, it's going to keep sticking. Okay, I think this is a good size for our roof. Let's just make sure we have 1 and we have 2. Perfect. Here's 1 piece. And here's another piece. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. This is one of my favorite things to do in my culinary classes, as well as my craft nights. All right, so here are my 2 trays. Here we have the front backs, we have both sides, we have our door and our 2 roof pieces. These are gonna go in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes at 375. And what's nice about having this leftover dough is we can put it back together again. We can wet our fingertips, make it a dough, and then you can make cookies to help decorate your house. So I have cookie cutters. Right now I just have the heart cookie cutter, but it's gonna be cute to add to my house. Or as a little snack, who knows. So now, this is trash. Here is all of my hearts. And my other half of dough can now make another house. Okay, so the timer just went off and now we're gonna take them out of the oven, all right? All right, here is our roof pieces and our door. Looking good. We'll get a close up in a little bit. Just put these on the stove. Next is our front, back, and sides. They are looking good. So if there's not much push, then they are done. I think that these just need another minute or 2 because they were on the bottom rack. So I'm gonna put them in and then we'll check them again in about 2 minutes. All right, so it's super important that once your gingerbread comes out of the oven, we have to realign our pattern pieces on top and give them a quick trim, all right? They might kind of grow up and grow out in the oven, so let's check it out. This is our roof, all right? So I'm going to put our piece on. Doesn't look too bad, so I'm going to move that to the side. Not bad. Our door. Now it's just a quick precaution. So our door got a little bit bigger. So this is when the knife comes in handy. I'm just gonna trim, all right? Flip to the other side and trim. Now I'd like to do this when they're still warm so that way they are easier to cut. You can eat this as a snack or you can throw that in the trash, all right? So there is our door. We've already done our roof. Next is our front and back. We have to make sure that all of our pieces are good. You wouldn't want somebody to build your house and not measure correctly. I'm just going to give this a quick little trim on the bottom here. Now be careful on cutting, obviously. Some might need a cutting board. I move all of these over, and this is fine other than our roof there. That looks good. Put that on the side. Now we're going to do our sides. It's not always that you have to trim, but it's better to do it now than wait until later and then your pieces break. That's happened before as well. I don't want any tears in the making of this gingerbread house. Okay, one more on that. Okay, so all of our pieces are ready, and now we're going to